Marc Abinsour, Ambassador of France to Singapore, Xavier Durand, COFAS, as you would say, COFAS Group CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank Bhupesh Gupta for inviting me to speak today. It's a great honor for me. And let me tell you one thing before I start. I like your business, okay? You heard my background, which is around trade, transaction banking. I very much like your business, and I can tell you that at BNP Paribas, I'm not here to advertise for BNP Paribas, but I can tell you that trade, supply chain, working capital are really key businesses for us. Thanks for your support. So it's my pleasure today to be with you. I guess that most of you in the room here are from companies who are regional, global, and who have embraced globalization. Actually, the topic I've been asked to address is globalization and the evolving role of banks in facilitating globalization, which is a fairly broad topic. So I will start with an helicopter view, and then we try to narrow down a little bit. So what we believe is globalization is by definition very related to connectivity. And when we look at the past, connectivity was limited and poor. This being said, in the last 20, 30 years, with political changes and new economic policies, the main driver for change has been technical evolution. And when we zoom into trade finance, into trade in general, what we have seen, it has not changed much. It has remained very much vanilla, paper-based, with a lack of customization. In the meantime, cash has remained king in most of the emerging world. Let's look at today, which is probably more interesting. I don't know if somebody can help me. I have a slide which is cute, but anyway, so what is, today, ease of travel has become a reality thanks to low-cost airlines, shipping. Thank you. So that's where we are today. Mobile, very obvious. Actually, this chart is quite interesting because it's just recapping that the journey has changed a lot. And if you look at it, it took 75 years for the telephone to reach 50 million users. For Twitter, which has become very famous since November 2016, it took just 2 years. And actually for WeChat, I think it is 35 days. So the landscape has changed a lot massively. And it means that also needs from clients, from corporates have evolved a lot in the meantime. What we see also that regulatory framework, regulations have changed, but have to adapt further. So this is on the mobile. The third point I would like to make is on cashless transactions. In addition to the digital evolution, the non-cash part of payments has grown massively, as you all know. And just to share with you a few numbers, according to the latest Capgemini BNP Paribas annual report, so the growth over the last decade in terms of non-cash payments has been massive, up to 433 billion. And the CAGR, which is expected between now and 2020, is about 11% a year and 20% in the developing markets, and Asia particularly. So the drivers are very powerful. Trade finance. Trade finance in ASEAN, in Asia in general, Xavier was referring to Asia a bit earlier. Trade finance in Asia is a really a key component of the economy. Just in ASEAN, it has exceeded in 2016 330 billion. And we know that banks need to provide Asian corporates with comprehensive solutions. In the meantime, what we see, it's a lot of inefficiency. OECD estimates that 15% of the trade is wasted in hidden costs, in inefficiencies, and the paper aspect is one of them. And this leads to a loss on a global basis estimated at $100 billion. These are big numbers. Whether they are totally accurate or partially is not the point. The point is that in our world, in Asia, there is a lot of inefficiency in trade finance. And this lack of automation makes the market quite ripe for disruption. We believe that there is a potential, and I know that Tan Chai Kai is going to speak later. He will be part of the panel. There are a lot of opportunities and a lot of initiatives which have been launched. Cross-border. Cross-border is just obvious. Europe, US, Asia, and vice versa. And just ASEAN in 2016, in terms of FDI, intra-ASEAN, it's about $26 billion. Again, a big number. And we see a move towards PPP, which is changing the dynamics. And what is quite important for banks is really to be able to align the stakeholders and their needs and expectations. Now, as far as the bank's role is concerned, so, and by the way, just to clarify, here it's not the four C's commonly used in Singapore, which is, if I'm not mistaken, condo, credit card, car, and club. Here it's about co-create, connect, collaborate, and conduit. Co-create, why? Because banks have to co-create solutions with clients. It is just obvious when it comes to domestic solutions, but more importantly for cross-border solutions. Connect, because we need to bridge investors and borrowers globally, regionally, and that's especially the role of the global banks like BNP Paribas. Collaborate, it's about involving, including stakeholders, including disruptors, to create more efficiency. And conduit, because we can talk about disruption, disruptors, innovation. In the end, what we need to provide our clients with, our counterparts, is a safe conduit to do business, and that's where it matters in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of data management. All this is essential. What about tomorrow? What we believe, and again, it's our views, again, helicopter view, but that's what we do day to day. In terms of tomorrow, first of all, there is one point I would like to make about millennials, which are estimated at 2 billion nowadays in this world. And the millennials, the way they operate businesses, the way they behave is a bit different. They have two points of focus. One, digital, and two, sustainability. And that's something we see every day in our businesses. Digital, just to give you an idea, everybody is connected all day long, obviously, but in terms of the way money is spent, the settlements take place, it's a lot through immobile platforms, and much less through conventional payment mode. Everybody has in mind Apple Pay, Alipay, but there are a lot of wallets, electronic wallets, and so on and so forth, including the corporate space. In terms of CSR, it's no longer save for the future, it's more save the future. And when we survey millennial entrepreneurs, so millennium entrepreneurs, close to half of them say that key values for them include the impact on the overall society, on the communities, which is a bit new compared to what we have seen in the past with usual conventional entrepreneurs. That's quite interesting. Now, in terms of digitalization, which is my first point, payments are going to increase by 6.5% CAGR between now and going forward in terms of wholesale, which is your business basically, and our business here in Asia. And it means a lot of dynamic changes we need to support, to facilitate. That's what we need to do. And banks have to embrace these technologies, these changes, otherwise they will be out of the game. We are not concerned because we have seen banks changing. Ourselves, we invest a fair bit of money in new platform services, and it goes fast. That's the whole thing. It goes pretty fast. And in the meantime, it's creating new challenges. Not only the fact banks have to remain in the game, but also the fact that due to this globalization, lack of standards means different challenges in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of overall integrity. Challenges are very different, and so far there is no right, wrong. It is changing very fast. That's something we need to keep in mind. And we don't have a magic solution. We don't have a view which is obvious. We are looking at a lot of aspects, and I would say many global banks and local banks are doing the same. Now, in terms of trade financing, again, your business, it's about smart contracts, electronic LCs or light LCs. That's blockchain for settlements. We have a lot of initiatives in terms of data management, because you clients, you corporates or institutions are asking for data management, for better efficiency. So that's what we see. And challenges are a bit different by nature. Now, the banking system has no choice. It has to change fast. It is also true in terms of regulatory concerns, in terms of KYC. I'm sure that you are all aware of the National Trade Platform in Singapore, which is a remarkable initiative launched by the MAS. We have also the KYC transverse initiative in some countries in Asia. So all this is very, very interesting. And it is facilitating the globalization and the efficiency. Second point I would like to make is on sustainability. Sustainability, at least seen from BNP Paribas perspective, is a very key topic. And what we see, globalization is an obvious challenge for all of us. We know that investments in the coming years have to be between 5 and 7 trillion to achieve the UN objectives SDG for 2030. It's a huge number. And we know that it can be only done if all players are together. And here, we banks have to put together investors and borrowers. And that's something we do. And just to share with you that, for instance, in Southeast Asia, we are working on some projects along with corporate and institutions, with the UN as well, in order to facilitate green business in Indonesia, for instance, in plantations, whereby we ensure farmers long-term offtake under some specific standards, parameters. That's typically what banks have to bring, innovation in areas which are key for the society, not only for our clients, but also for the society. Because if you look at plantations in Indonesia, it's really employing, in most of Indonesia, the vast majority of the population. So that's typically things that banks can facilitate by putting investors, borrowers, UN, multilaterals. So that's very key. And it's not only this, it's about advisory, it's about trade financing, it's about supply chain financing, green supply chain financing. For instance, we see programs, and we have done some, whereby we incentivize suppliers of consumer goods to operate with some green standards, and if they do that, they get some rebates. So that's typically what we do, what we need to do together. COFAS, corporates, BNP Paribas, that's essential to us. And in terms of investors' business, what is key also is ESG, SDG, if you wish. What does it mean? It means that we, banks, have to provide investors with solutions allowing them to invest per some SDG criteria and to analyze performance, to filter the data. So that's something which is quite demanding in terms of technology and that we enjoy doing with our clients. So I'm just mentioning a few of the initiatives that we are taking in the green business. But to recap on these, it's about digitalization and two, about green business, broadly speaking. So to conclude, I could have covered a lot of topics, obviously, but I wanted to highlight what is key for us, what is really in our heart, and also what is in our plans going forward. And that's something which is very simple. Now, to conclude, as I said, so with an exciting tomorrow, we must be prepared today, nevertheless, to enable individuals, corporates, institutions to seize the opportunities which are the ones of the future. And we believe that by working with partners, with experts like COFAS, we can provide businesses, corporate institutions with the right solutions they expect from banks. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you for your attention.